Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Bushka. If you're just joining me for the first time here, well, get on board the love train. You're going to have a great old time. We're going to look at the Beryl today, the M762, the brand spanking new gun that's out with patch 0.95. Now, we do know that it was out previously, had to kill bots in night mode on Erangel to get it, and it still does drop predominantly from the bots. Now, I'm going to give you some numbers first and foremost just to... But it does real well drop now as well. But you can see, I found that on bots most of the time. The numbers are pretty stunning, actually. It is a 7.62 AR, but it is the first 7.62 AR we've had that has done something other than 47 base damage to a no vest wearing chest area target. It does 45, which is exactly the same as a SAW, an M249, or a Mini 14. And it's also fires, it sounds lovely, doesn't it? It also fires at exactly the same rate as all the 5.56 ARs. Now, if you haven't watched my 5.56 AR video that I dropped yesterday, where I basically, the Don't Believe the Armory, the Mythbuster, they all fire at the same rate. 2.53/2.54 seconds to get off 30 rounds in clip, which means they fire at about 0.085 rounds per second. The reason there's a slight variation there, and it's something I can't really change, it's to do with the frames per second, and if you've got really, really fast frames per second, it's easy to get an absolutely solid calculation on that. But trust me when I say that they're very, 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 very close. Like the margin of error is plus or minus like 0.05% on those times. Margin of error. Where was I? So it fires off rounds that do 12.5% more damage than a 5.56 AR's round, which does 40 base damage to a no armor wearing target on the chest. But it does it at exactly the same speed as an M416 and a Scarl and all those guys. I did screw up yesterday. I said 20% more damage when I was talking about the Mini 14 versus the M16A4. If anyone watched that video, that was me just having a brain fart. It's 12.5%. That's 1/8. By the way, that bot, these bots are in this video just because I wanted to highlight. This is something I do all the time. I'm letting him shoot me because there's a guy over the other side of the hill, and I'm going to wait till he goes to get his bot, and then I'm going to clear him. Now, there's two, all the testing done, right? So speed, the time to kill. It's right up there just behind a Groza in terms of time to kill, which is pretty superb. It gets through a level 2 vest faster than any of the 5.56 ARs. They've and I've adjusted all those in my spreadsheet. That's in my Discord channel. There's a link to my Discord channel in the description of the video. But there's a spreadsheet there with all the real numbers for the ARs in terms of damage to a level 1, level 2, level 3 vest, and the DMRs and the sniper. And I've only done the M24 and the Kar98K so far there, and all the SMGs too. And it's got the time to kill on those, and they're all adjusted for the current patch. I'm pretty sure I'll go through and make sure those numbers are correct, but I'll make sure. And it's faster than all the 5.56 ARs by a fair margin. They're 0.34 seconds to clear a level 2 vest wearing target. The Beryl M762 is 0.255 seconds, which is very, very, very good. The Groza was 0.22, which is crackerjack. So you are right up there in terms of power. Where the weapon falls over is obviously at range. The recoil profile is very tough to deal with at range. And although I did all the testing that everyone else does, which is you stand still in front of a target, you can control the recoil if you're standing completely still. The problem with that is you're also going to get drilled by the other guy. You want to be strafing at the same time and then controlling the engagement via strafing and shooting at the same time. And when you do that, well, the really effective range of this weapon is like 30 to 40 meters. I wouldn't bother with the burst fire. The burst fire is a bit of a meme, but this is the kind of range you want to be maxing out at. When you start going longer than that, it does have some struggles. And you can see there's a guy there. He's going to go up. And I'll show you how effective it is, though. If you can get a set shot with it, like this, where there's a guy who's going up into that house, I'm going to get a bot push on me. So I stop pushing, clear the bot, and then I'm going to hit this guy. And that is really lovely when it can do that. And I'll show you a couple of clips here. I'm actually going to just show you the rest of this game, the highlights of this game using the Beryl. I did hit a lot of shots with the Kar98. It works exactly like an AKM. If you're used to using an AKM, it fulfills that role, but plus. It's an AKM plus plus. It's the deluxe. It's the AKM with the the spit and polish. There you go. Very easy to control if you've got like a half grip on it at that kind of range. Vertical just doesn't manage the horizontal recoil at all. I can see there's someone obviously up here. There's a crate down there where there's been all kinds of disaster happening. Level 3, you know, helmet in there and all the gear. I'm like, there's definitely someone up in this house. And again, from a set shot where you get to line things up, the gun works remarkably well. I'm gonna hammer this guy on the roof. He's climbed up the roof, jumping on the door up there. Really easily too. Like it nails him. And then we're going to push in, chuck a grenade, and straight through. And this is the range where you want to be hanging onto this weapon. It's interesting that it's only terribly slightly less more lethal than a Groza in the close, but the recoil feels far more manageable. And I think a big part of that is because you can whack a vertical foregrip or a half grip on it. Now, a vertical foregrip is literally just going to help you with the vertical recoil. The half grip is going to help you with the horizontal recoil. Now, I've done a whole video on grips, and if you haven't seen that, please go watch that. I go right into depth on them and what they do and why you should be getting them and how you can use them. But just to cut all the rubbish out of it, horizontal recoil goes both ways, side to side. Controlling that is a lot harder when it's moving left and right than it is just controlling one facet, which is up and down. And while a vertical foregrip is really useful on this thing, I find that I can control the recoil reasonably well in a vertical format, but it's so much easier to let the half grip control the recoil from the horizontal format. Now, it might sound a little bit dry, but basically, if you feel like you're a good recoil controller, run the half grip. And it certainly gives it a little more versatility. It lets it reach out to a little bit more of a 5.56 AR's range, but it just doesn't get there. It doesn't have that versatility that you can run from an M416, a SCAR-L, a QBZ, an AUG. It doesn't get that. And that's fair enough. It shouldn't get that because it gets the rate of fire with extra damage. And it sounds gorgeous, mate. The immersion factor is massive for me, especially after running the QBZ on Sanok. And one of the big things that I find with that gun is the sounds make people think it fires faster. It really does have a sound that makes you feel like you're part of the game and that there's more energy involved and that, you know, your imagination gets to take root and take hold. And that's a big part of it. And this is where this gun shines. There's no question about it. This kind of range, it just shreds things. It absolutely destroys them. You've got to run a compensator with it. The compensator is absolutely hands down the best reason, the best thing to pick up for the gun. If you can run a compensator, then you can do all kinds of good things with it. It helps the recoil no end. And if you're not running a compensator, if you're one of those guys that like to run a suppressor, I understand you've got your reasons, but think of it this way. The gun works best within that 20 to 30 meter range max. And I'll show you this. Look at the tap to lean button. I've got it on mix now. I'm trying to work this as a new part of my control system so that I actually lean out and hold the lean out button while firing. And that's what I do here. And if you're at this kind of range, why the hell do you need a suppressor? They know where you are. And if you're firing it at longer than this range, it's ineffective and the suppressor's not going to make a whole hell of a lot of difference. So run a compensator on it, you clown, and just be happy that you did. So that's a Beryl M762. I think it's a fantastic weapon. It's easily my favorite close quarters gun now. I would pick this up and run it pretty much everywhere. I'm not had a whole lot of run with it on Sanok, and I'm a massive QBZ fan there. One of the reasons I'm a huge QBZ fan is the ability of the QBZ to hold a good recoil spray pattern, even at 50 to 60 meters and further at times. If you want to know all these numbers, if you want to see my spreadsheet, I've got all the Gaudi stats. That's on my Discord channel. The link for the Discord channel is in the description below. You can go there. I think we've got about 1,400, 1,500 members now. Everything's happening there. This is the second time in my life I've seen someone camp the top area of one of these houses. Like, it's a death trap up there. I don't know why you'd put yourself in that situation. Low tots, Gren. Thanks very much. And then we're just going to go smash this little window here. I'm Bushka. You guys have been wonderful. There's a video on grips. Check that out. There's a video on all the ARs. Check that out. If you want to see all the latest up-to-date stats, check out the spreadsheet. If you want to follow me on Twitter, if you want to check me out on Instagram, it's all there, baby. Enjoy yourselves. Look after yourselves. And as always, stay safe on the battlefield. And bye for now. Rock on.